Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen on this rather wet and damp day in New York. You are in my kitchen, in my home kitchen, and what I've decided to bring to you today is how I glam up a good old leftover bean situation. So last night I made Tex-Mex for my darling hubby, and this is the beans that I have left over. Now, when I saute my beans from a can, number one, I try to keep it oil free, and I've done a live video and I've done a recipe involving that. I try to keep it oil free, but I also add things like cabbage. I like to add things like bell peppers and onions to up the fiber. And also, if you have picky eaters and if you have kids who don't like vegetables, this is a really good way to sneak it upon them. I also add cilantro and just very little of the store-bought taco seasoning to make my beans, right? So I have these leftover beans. I have quinoa that is also leftover, and you can see I've just kept it in the same container in which I had them in the fridge. The only new things that we're going to add are store-bought salsa. I have this one from Aldi, and you can use whichever kind you like. This is store-bought salsa. I have 3 slices of cucumber, just regular English cucumber sliced. I have a little bit of lemon juice. I have cilantro if you don't have cilantro. And you're Indian, you can always use your green chutney. And I've used this tostada, which is like a stack of tostadas that come in a bag. I've put a cheese spread, which is actually also ready-made, comes in a bottle like this. It's a cheese dip. And this is also from Aldi. So basically what I've done is I've just spread a layer of it. And what I usually do is in my cheese dip jar, I also take out a little bit and add some store-bought salsa. So it has a nice chunky feel, right? So it doesn't need to be melted. It doesn't need to be heated. If you're not a lover of cheese, you can totally skip this and put avocado, smash an avocado to the base, okay? The next thing that I'm going to put right now is going to be some spinach. This is baby spinach right out of the bag. Thank God for Aldi, right? So just some baby spinach. And I've also added spinach to this because I had some spinach in the fridge that I was trying to finish up. So I just like to add as much vegetables as possible whenever I can, because I just feel like there's not enough vegetables in our life, okay? So instead of taking 100 vitamins, eat more vegetables, right? So I'm going to stack it up. So the first thing that goes on is the tostada, then goes in the cheese spread, then go the spinach. So all the lovers of vegetables, if you're watching this video, you need to give me some thumbs up and some hearts. Now, the next thing that I'm going to put in is my quinoa. So if you're vegetarian, people always get stuck on, am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough protein? Honey, quinoa is a complete protein. So, you can eat your quinoa. This is a quinoa upma that I made some time ago. You can see it still has some curry leaves. And if you have followed me and watched all my live videos, you know exactly how we do this South Indian style, right? Let me say a quick hello to all my lovely people who are joining me. We have Sarla, we have Kurishma Nenani, Shobha Mahapatra, Shobha Mampata, I'm sorry, and Shubhashini Raj. Wait, let me wear my glasses. I just came from an eye exam, so yes, I do need new glasses. All right, so this is what it's looking like so far. Now, we are going to top it up with our beans and cabbage mixture. I mean, you can do this as a taco. You can do this as an open tostada. You can do it as a quesadilla. There's so many things you can do, especially if you don't eat meat. Hold on to your quinoa, make it flavorful, and then use it, right? So when I plan my meals sometimes, which I don't really do regularly, but when I do, I feel like if any ingredient that I prepare cannot be used in more than 2 ways, I don't waste my time on it, right? So it has to give me mileage. All right, so I'm going to put in my salsa. And you want to dot it around so that you don't have any portion. So I always use a mild salsa because I'm such a scaredy cat when it comes to chilies. I don't like heat. I don't eat heat. I don't cook with heat. But if you like your Serrano chilies, if you like your Thai chilies in your tostada, go for it. And then I'm going to glam this up with my cucumbers. If you have avocados, which I don't have today, feel free to use those by all means. And of course, we have some cilantro. Now, whenever you have anything with cucumber or raw onions, oh my God, this thing is a game changer. This is the seasoning that they put on like the fruits and the mangoes that you buy, in the subway station that you used to buy like back in the day when things were normal and you would buy fruit that was cut open and served. This is the Mexican seasoning. It's called the Tajin. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? I always use this. So it has a very nice lemony and spicy kick to it, but it's very citrusy. Like it really has that tartness of lemon. This is better than chaat masala, you guys. And then I'm actually going to put some lemon just to moisten up my quinoa. Right? If you have sour cream, you can totally slather that on. If you don't have sour cream, that's fine too. To this, if you want to add cranberries, you can do that. If you want another layer of beans, you can do that. So I plan to finish this entire box of beans. I'm not a fan of too much quinoa. But here, so this is how you do it, right? So this is actually a really good lunch. It could also be a very good snack for some picky eaters in your home who don't want to eat vegetables, but when it's disguised as a taco, you can pretty much feed them anything. So this is how I serve it on my little griddle that I bought from Daiso. Daiso is a little Japanese store that just came up in Rigo Center. So this is what it looks like. Starla says, oh my God, my favorite spice. I use it on all my fruits. Yes, that's what this is, right? So if you have not been touched by the magic of, and this is not a sponsored post, like nobody's paying me to talk about this, but if you have not had this on your fruits or your vegetables or your salads, baby, you are totally missing out on something important, interesting, and delicious in your life. So for all the people who like that tart kick in their salads or in their fruits or whatever, you have got to get a hold of this. It's really delicious. And I always like to add it on my tacos. I always like to add it on my nacho chips. I don't know if you remember that live video that I did where I took the corn chips and I made nacho chips at home, right? You remember that? So that's what I did. And immediately, as soon as the oil gets drained off, I just sprinkled the tajin on it. It makes the best nacho chips. And after you make it at home yourself, you will never go back to store-bought packet nacho chips. It's a completely different vibe, y'all. So if you haven't tried it, definitely try it. Veena ji is here. Veena ji, welcome to Queen's Curry Kitchen. Look what we just made. We just glammed up some leftover beans and some leftover quinoa, and we made a loaded tostada. Look at that. Don't you want to come in here and eat this like right now? Yeah, baby. Yeah, so these are all the flavors. So I just feel like leftovers don't need to be boring, and you can always find 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time to glam up your food. If it looks pretty, you're obviously going to want to eat it and you're going to enjoy it more, right? You'll be happy when you look at it. So take the time to do that. It doesn't have to be boring at all. I do have a meal prep class that's coming up. It will involve meal planning and meal prepping. So we will talk about that, how if you're Indian, if your kids like more Western food or American food, you want to stick to your own traditional food, or you're a busy mom and you really don't have the time to cook for 100 hours in the kitchen every week, even though you can get my food delivery service. That's a whole different webinar. But I'll talk about some tips and tricks on how you can really do a plan, and then you can make some prep over the weekend so that your entire week will go smoothly, right? So we will be doing that. Stay tuned for all those notifications. If you have friends, Ron says, send it all to me. Shobha says, looks yummy. It really is yummy, and I've done it so many times that I've fallen in love with it. Also, if you if everybody's not eating at the same time, my biggest trick that I do is I actually make enchiladas. So what happens is that even if it's gloppy or even if it softens up, that's kind of like a characteristic of the dish, right? So I'm actually working on a whole new repertoire of Indo-Mexican dishes, and I will be doing something very soon, because that's one of my favorite cuisines, and I think there's so much variety, and we can always veganize so many dishes from there that it's really effortless for me. Like, it comes very naturally for me to do an Indian style Mexican because I just love it. So Ron is in Canada. Ron, if you'll swap me maple syrup, I'll send you this. Right? So I will be sharing all of that with you. Definitely stay tuned to this page. Follow this page if you're not already doing that. That way, when I go live, you will get notifications. But more than anything, I don't think if I want you to come here to learn something more than I want to be connected to you so we can hang out. Like, you all know, right? I'm an empty nester, and if I don't talk to you, like, who else am I going to talk to in the whole day, right? So you guys are like you're my friend, you're my family, you're the people that I hang out with. You're the people that hang out with me in my kitchen. So, thank you for giving it the 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever of time that you can give me. I truly appreciate that. But definitely, if you like these recipes, or if you tried them and you were able to pull it off, for your families. Share your experience with me. I'd really love to know how it's making a difference for you. I am actually going to share an experience that happened this past weekend. So I taught a class on Friday to a family of 4 people. There is a 14-year-old boy, a 10-year-old girl who doesn't eat anything, a 14-year-old boy who can't get enough food, and their mom who's vegetarian, and their dad who eats everything but has to cook everything because the mom doesn't touch any meat or chicken or fish or eggs. So it was a very complicated situation, and they were really at their wits' end as to what to bring to the table every day, because children were constantly asking for different foods and different varieties. They really don't necessarily want to eat Indian food all the time, so the parents were like, we really don't know what to do. So we did a 2-hour class, and in that short amount of time we actually did a transformation of garlic bread, transformation of store-bought hoagies into yummy garlic bread right in your kitchen. We did that. We did a pasta salad with beans and vegetables, and lots of pasta but no mayo, so that was really great. We also made a dal, which was like a very traditional Indian thing that we did in the Instant Pot. So we did a dal dish with a tadka in the Instant Pot, one pot dal. Then we did chicken Milanese. Yes, so we had thinly sliced chicken breast, and I taught the dad how to do that. Yes, you can actually take a private lesson, right? So you can do an online class. Just sign up for it on my webpage, and you should go to queenscurrykitchen.com/classes, and you can actually register for a class. There's a whole listing of what you can do based on your skill level, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced in the kitchen. And you can also take classes with chef.co, CHEFTDOTCO. If you go into my highlights on Instagram, there is a section called The Tribe, and in that you will see chef.co, from which a lot of my students actually come, and it's all over the world, so you can really sign in from anywhere and take a class, but you can see all the class offerings. So anyway, coming back to the weekend class, so it was a 2-hour class. The mother has very limited skills in the kitchen. The father is a little more confident, but then again, he's also tired of coming up with new menus or new things, because they feel like sometimes when you spend too much time trying to make something, and then at the end of it your kids are like, I don't even like it. So they're like, oh, like I wasted 3 hours and all these ingredients, and now I don't know what to do with it, because now you're not going to eat it, right? So it's challenging. So I told them to pick the things that their children are already eating, and then we were going to try to make those things at home, right? So the children love chicken in any form, they love pasta in any form. So we said, let's start with what they're already doing. So you really have to get into the mindset of what it is that a child eats. And nobody knows that better than me, because I lived for 20 years in a big family of 9 people, out of which half the people like meat, half the people didn't like meat. We had children of 3 different age groups. We had a 1-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So we had all the kinds. And Sarla, you know how crazy our family was, right? Because we were always a witness to that. So Sarla knows how crazy our food schedule was. We were always in the kitchen. Between me and my sister-in-law, we were the 2 moms who were responsible for feeding the entire family, and we would take turns cooking for 8 people. But finally we cracked the code, and we realized that if they like store-bought, if they like outside food, we'll just try to recreate that food here, so that they'll not crave it, but they'll not go for the unhealthy options, right? It's very easy to click something on Seamless and, get it delivered to your house, but it's also the habits that we're building with our children. I love you too, Sarla. That's so sweet of you. She says, I miss you. Yeah, we miss you too. It used to be one crazy circus in our house with Sarla's kids and, 3 kids from our household. It was a lot of fun. So all the kids grew up together. They had a great childhood. And Sarla's daughter used to love the chicken and the Italian stuff that I used to make. So yeah, so she was a huge fan. So thank you for adding to my confidence. Now she's a young lady, who can really cook up a storm on her own. So they don't need me. But yeah, those were the days, right? So just try to get into your children's head. If they're that picky person who just only likes to eat one kind of food, like they only like noodles, or they only like pasta, or they only like rice. There's so much stuff that you can sneak into your rice and into your pasta. If they only like bread, there's so much stuff that you can sneak into your breads that can really make a difference in what your family is going to be eating. So after we were done with this class, so we made a vegetarian corn chowder. We did pasta salad with garbanzo beans and fresh vegetables without any without any mayo. We also did the chicken Milanese for the non-vegetarian eaters in that family. We did a yellow dal tarka. We did a garlic bread from store-bought hoagies. And I think I'm forgetting one other thing that we made, which is totally... Oh, and we made black bean burgers. Yes, so these were all the things that we made in the course of that class. And this was a one-on-one class. I was standing in her kitchen and we were doing it right next to each other, but I was not really doing anything. It's very hands-on, right? So at the end of this class, they apparently had a lot of food and also a lot of confidence. And so she said that she was going to call her parents-in-law who live a few blocks up the road to come and share this meal with them. And the greatest compliment that I could have ever asked for was that she said, in all these years of my married life, I have never had an opportunity where all three generations have sat at the same table and eaten the same food. But everything that we made was such a hit. Of course, it disappeared very fast. But her 80-something-year-old parents-in-law, that means the grandparents of the family, ate the food. The 14-year-old kid ate the food. The 10-year-old daughter ate the food. The vegetarian person had enough food for themselves. And the dad had enough food. And everything was gone. It was just very fresh. But they really wanted to learn and they really put in the effort and the time. So I'm not going to take complete credit for it. But it's really try to understand what is the situation that you're trying to combat. And also, what are your expectations from a class? I think when you communicate that to me as a teacher, as a chef, I'm able to cater it to your needs so that you're meeting all the goals that you have. And it's very exasperating when you spend the money and the time and get somebody to give you a class, but you can't remember anything. So I certainly encourage cooking by intuition in all of my classes. And also in the recipes that I make with you, you see that I just, put things in and I eyeball everything. But when you take a class, of course, you get a written recipe so you can fall back on it later on. But that's pretty much how it works. You see a problem with your food situation. Even if somebody like me who lives completely alone the whole day, I really have no responsibility of cooking for a house full of people because my husband is at work. I'm by myself all day long. My child is in college. So it's like, what do I even eat? But if I don't give any thought to that, it's very easy to, go to the Starbucks drive-thru and get like a latte that's loaded with sugar and get a croissant or get something from Starbucks. I don't need that. It's like, I really don't need that extra calorie, but the only way to avoid that is by thinking ahead just a little bit and planning ahead a little bit, knowing what your expectations are. So my expectations of myself this week are to really cut down on the carbs altogether and not do the late night ice cream binges that I do with my husband. Those are really not serving me in any way, and I feel absolutely miserable and I feel just really guilty. So I've completely cut down that late night ice cream eating, and today is the fourth day. So that was becoming a routine, and he would buy these big tubs of ice cream and we would just sit there and stick a spoon and eat mindlessly. So no. So my biggest goal this week is to eat more beans, to eat more vegetables, to drink my water, to take my supplements every single day, and to cut down on my carbs and cut down on the oil and not eat anything late in the night. So that's my goal for this week. Similarly, if you have any goals from your food situation, for your children, for yourself, communicate that to me and maybe we can make a plan. Or if you want to drop it in the comments below, we can all brainstorm together and come up with something that's going to work for you. So I feel like when there's too much information out there, I just back off and I'm like, I can't handle it. So I just need a little bit of something once I've built that habit. Do you have a vegetarian only cookbook? Yes, Ron, I actually do have a vegetarian only cookbook, and I also have an omnivorous cookbook. So the vegetarian only cookbook is called The Vegan Indian Home, and that's on my website. It's a digital download and it's also available as a hard copy, but I guess you're in Canada, so definitely go for the digital download. It has 10 of the most frequently made Indian recipes of vegetables and lentils that we make in our Indian home every single day. And then the next book, The Spice of Life, which I'm just finishing up, it should launch this weekend. I've been promising it, but it hasn't happened. That's a recipe book that is revolving around 5 basic spices from the Indian repertoire. And what we have done is I've done all the vegetarian recipes based around those spices. And then another friend of mine who lives in the UK and is also a spice seller, he has done the meat and the shrimp and the non-vegetarian recipes in that book. So let's say if you have cumin, you have a cumin recipe, which is cumin with potatoes, and then you have a lamb recipe with cumin. So you have, if you're an omnivorous family, If you have half the family members who like to eat meat and half don't, then there is something based on that spice. Oftentimes you'll see when you go and buy a spice packet or a spice bottle, you have the entire thing, and then you're like, well, I only made one recipe. What am I supposed to do with that, right? So this book is kind of like the answer to that, and you can basically just take that as a starting point and really add on to whatever you need to make, and there is something for everybody in these two books. So a good starting point would really be the Vegan Indian Home, because it's absolutely simplified, demystified Indian recipes that we make. And even for something like chana masala, which traditionally calls for about 11 to 13 different spices, I've literally boiled it down to 4 different spices, or maybe even 5, right? So you don't have to buy the whole supermarket. I really discourage conspicuous consumption, and I feel like you should work with stuff that you already have. Even if you take a class, I sometimes encourage you to send me pictures of what you have in your pantry so that you can actually share with me what you have, and then I build a recipe around it based on the things that you like and based on the seasonings that you already have. If you're missing 1 or 2 items, I will certainly let you know that, you can bring this or you can use that as a substitute. If you don't have it, we can still figure out something else. So that's pretty much how the class works, right? So it's a very one-on-one communicative thing, and you're welcome to check out the classes in the Queen's Curry Kitchen on the website. It's all there. You can book it from right there. You can always send a private message if you have any questions that are very specific to your situation, and I'm happy to answer all those questions for you. Okay. So with that, I think I'm gonna say a quick hello to Michael Nalini Naidu, who just tuned in, and also Tim. Hi Tim, I hope you're feeling well. We're sending you lots of love, and we're sending you so many healing hugs. I'm sure you'll be up and running in no time. Ron says you're the best. It takes one to know one. So yes, thank you. I have the best people, that I have the best friends on Facebook that come listen to what I have to say, that I can share my stuff with, and I can share my innermost things, of all my stories in my kitchen with my parents, with my family, whatever crazy stories I have. And I'm happy that I have your support and your companionship in my kitchen, that I can share all this with you. So like always, I'm going to leave you with the final message: be blissful, be flavorful. Definitely wash your hands, people. COVID is real. Do not take it lightly. And eat homemade as much as possible. It's really going to save you from that fatigue of having to go places and figure out what else you can order from where else, right? So stay tuned for the meal planning class. If you have any friends who would like to join, send me a private message, because when I set it up on the Zoom, I will share the link and I'll make it shareable for all of you, so you can get more people. You can get your aunt, you can get your uncle, you can get your sister, your girlfriend, your bestie. So tell your mother, tell your father, tell your sister, tell your ex, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell your boss, tell your employee, tell your upline, downline, whoever you know, tell them that they can come to this page and find something of value that they can make in their home. And if you live in New York, if you'd like to try any of the food that we offer in our meal delivery service, definitely hit me up. Tuesdays are the days when we give out free samples. They're ready for pickup in Midtown Manhattan, so do not hesitate. Your girl got you, right? So if you're a busy mom, not so busy mom, want to cook, don't want to cook, whatever your situation may be, even if this page provided some entertainment to you and made you smile, give me a thumbs up, because I'm giving you lots of thumbs up. Mwah. Love and kisses to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. Have a great rest of the week. I may be doing a green tomato chutney recipe really soon, but again, if you follow this page, if you like this page, you will get notified whenever I'm on the live next, okay? So thank you, Nalini. You're so sweet for saying that. Thank you, guys. You're the best. I really, really admire, appreciate, acknowledge, and bless all the support that you give to me. It really means a lot to me. Without you guys, got emotional. I would just be one lonely empty nester, not knowing what to do with my life, right? So thank you for making a difference in my life. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye.